What if I told you that one of the most passionate and destructive love stories ever written was penned by a reclusive parson's daughter who died at just 30 years old? Today, we're diving deep into Emily Bronte's masterpiece Wuthering Heights, a novel so ahead of its time that Victorian critics called it disturbing and incomprehensible. Yet this gothic tale of obsession, revenge and redemption has captivated readers for over a century and 70 years, proving that some stories are simply too powerful to be contained by the conventions of their era. Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights stands as one of literature's most enigmatic and powerful works, a novel that shattered Victorian sensibilities when it was published in 1847. Written by the middle Brontë sister, who spent most of her life in the isolated Yorkshire moors, this singular work represents her only completed novel before her tragic death from tuberculosis in 1848. The book's unique narrative structure, told through multiple perspectives and timeframes, creates a complex tapestry of human passion that was revolutionary for its time. Set against the wild and desolate Yorkshire moors, the novel explores themes that were considered scandalous in Victorian England: passionate love that transcends social boundaries, revenge that spans generations, and the destructive power of obsession. Bronte's unflinching portrayal of human nature in its rawest form challenged the moral certainties of her era, presenting characters who are neither purely good nor evil, but devastatingly human in their complexity. The novel's gothic elements, combined with its psychological depth, create an atmosphere that is both supernatural and intensely realistic. Bronte's intimate knowledge of the Yorkshire landscape infuses every page with a sense of place so vivid that the moors themselves become a character in the story. This masterpiece continues to resonate with modern readers because it dares to explore the darker aspects of human nature while ultimately affirming the possibility of redemption and renewal. The story unfolds through the eyes of Mr. Lockwood, a tenant who rents Thrushcross Grange and becomes fascinated by his mysterious landlord Heathcliff and the neighbouring estate of Wuthering Heights. Through conversations with his housekeepers, Nellie Dean, Lockwood learns the tragic history that has shaped the current generation. Decades earlier, Mr. Earnshaw brought home a dark-skinned foundling named Heathcliff, who becomes the obsession of his daughter Catherine. Despite their intense connection, Catherine chooses to marry Edgar Linton of Thrushcross Grange for his social status and wealth, devastating Heathcliff, who disappears for 3 years. When he returns mysteriously wealthy and educated, Heathcliff begins a calculated campaign of revenge against both the Earnshaw and Linton families. Heathcliff marries Edgar's sister Isabella purely for revenge, while Catherine, now married to Edgar, becomes increasingly tormented by her choice. Her emotional turmoil leads to illness and death shortly after giving birth to a daughter, also named Catherine. Heathcliff's grief transforms into an all-consuming desire for vengeance that extends to the next generation. Through manipulation and strategic marriages, Heathcliff gains control of both Wuthering Heights and Thrushcross Grange. However, the younger generation, particularly the second Catherine and Hareton Earnshaw, begin to break the cycle of hatred through genuine love and forgiveness. The novel concludes with Heathcliff's death and the promise of renewal as the young couple prepares to restore both estates to their former glory. The arrival of Heathcliff at Wuthering Heights serves as the catalyst for everything that follows. Mr. Earnshaw's decision to adopt this mysterious child from the streets of Liverpool sets in motion a chain of events that will devastate two families across 2 generations. Heathcliff's presence immediately disrupts the household dynamics, creating jealousy in Hindley Earnshaw, while forging an unbreakable bond with Catherine. This foundational event establishes the novel's central theme of how one person's compassionate act can have far-reaching consequences. Catherine's betrayal of her true feelings represents the novel's emotional core and drives the entire narrative forward. Her decision to marry Edgar Linton, despite her passionate declaration that she and Heathcliff are the same person, creates the central conflict. This moment reveals the destructive power of social conventions and the tragic consequences of denying one's authentic self. Catherine's famous statement that it would degrade her to marry Heathcliff while simultaneously declaring her love for him captures the novel's exploration of class, passion and social expectations. Heathcliff's 3-year absence and mysterious transformation marks a crucial turning point in the story. His return as a gentleman, educated and wealthy, demonstrates his determination to rise above his circumstances and claim his place in society. However, this transformation comes at a cost, as he has hardened his heart and focused entirely on revenge. This period shows how suffering can either ennoble or corrupt, and Heathcliff chooses the darker path. The systematic destruction of both families through Heathcliff's revenge plot showcases the novel's exploration of how hatred perpetuates itself. Heathcliff's marriage to Isabella Linton, his manipulation of Hindy's gambling addiction, and his eventual control of both estates demonstrate his tactical brilliance and emotional emptiness. Each calculated move brings him closer to his goal of owning everything that once rejected him, yet provides no satisfaction or peace. Catherine's death during childbirth represents the emotional climax of the novel and the moment when Heathcliff's humanity dies with her. Her final reconciliation with Heathcliff, where they acknowledge their eternal connection, provides a glimpse of redemption before tragedy strikes. This event transforms Heathcliff from a wronged man seeking justice into a figure consumed by supernatural grief and vengeance. The corruption of the second generation through Heathcliff's influence shows how trauma and hatred can be passed down through families. His treatment of his own son Linton, his manipulation of the younger Catherine, and his deliberate degradation of Hareton Earnshaw demonstrate how victims can become perpetrators. This cycle seems unbreakable until love intervenes. The redemption of Hareton and the second Catherine breaks the cycle of revenge and offers hope for renewal. Their love story mirrors that of the first Catherine and Heathcliff, but with a crucial difference. They choose love over pride and forgiveness over revenge. Catherine's patient teaching of Hareton to read symbolises the healing power of education and compassion. Heathcliff's final transformation and death provides the novel's resolution and suggests the possibility of spiritual redemption. His gradual loss of interest in revenge and his visions of the first Catherine indicate that even the most hardened heart can be touched by love. His peaceful death and the restoration of both estates suggest that healing is possible even after the most devastating conflicts. The destructive power of revenge teaches us that the pursuit of vengeance ultimately destroys the seeker more than the target. Heathcliff's elaborate revenge plots succeeds in material terms, but leaves him spiritually empty and incapable of joy. His story demonstrates that holding on to anger and resentment prevents healing and growth. The novel shows that revenge may provide temporary satisfaction but never lasting peace, and that the energy spent on hatred could be better used for constructive purposes. The importance of authentic self-expression emerges as the central theme through Catherine's tragic choice. Her decision to marry Edgar, despite her passionate connection to Heathcliff, illustrates how denying our true nature leads to suffering. The novel suggests that living authentically, even when it challenges social expectations, is essential for genuine happiness. Catherine's internal conflict between her heart and her social aspirations ultimately destroys her, teaching us that compromising our core identity has devastating consequences. The cyclical nature of trauma and the possibility of breaking destructive patterns provides profound insight into human psychology. The novel demonstrates how pain and hatred can be transmitted across generations, but also shows that individuals have the power to choose differently. The younger Catherine and Hareton's love story proves that cycles of abuse and revenge can be broken through conscious choice, forgiveness, and genuine care for others. The transformative power of education and compassion is beautifully illustrated through Catherine's patient teaching of Hareton. Despite his degradation under Heathcliff's influence, Hareton retains his essential nobility and capacity for growth. This storyline demonstrates that no one is beyond redemption, and that kindness and education can restore dignity and hope even in the most damaged individuals. The novel explores how environment shapes character while maintaining that individuals retain moral agency. The wild Yorkshire moors mirror the passionate and sometimes destructive emotions of the characters, suggesting that our surroundings influence our behaviour. However, the contrast between the younger generation's choices and their predecessors' actions proves that environment doesn't determine destiny. Class consciousness and social mobility receive complex treatment in the novel, showing both their power and their limitations. Heathcliff's rise from foundling to property owner demonstrates that social barriers can be overcome through determination and intelligence. However, his inability to find satisfaction in his elevated status suggests that external validation cannot heal internal wounds or replace genuine human connection. The nature of true love versus possessive obsession is carefully examined through the contrasting relationships in the novel. The first Catherine and Heathcliff's connection, while passionate, becomes destructive and possessive. Their love consumes rather than nurtures, leading to tragedy. In contrast, the younger Catherine and Hareton's relationship is based on mutual respect, growth and healing, suggesting that healthy love promotes individual development rather than demanding complete possession. The possibility of spiritual redemption and renewal provides the novel's ultimate message of hope. Despite the darkness and destruction that dominates much of the story, the ending suggests that healing is always possible. Heathcliff's final piece and the restoration of both estates indicate that even the most damaged souls can find redemption through love and forgiveness. Wuthering Heights remains a testament to the enduring power of human passion and the possibility of redemption even in the darkest circumstances. Emily Brontë created a work that continues to challenge and inspire readers nearly 2 centuries after its publication, proving that authentic art transcends the limitations of its time. The novel's complex structure and morally ambiguous characters demand active engagement from readers, rewarding those who persist through its challenging passages with profound insights into human nature. The book's lasting impact lies in its unflinching examination of love, revenge and redemption without offering easy answers or moral simplicities. Brontë refuses to condemn or absolve her characters completely, instead presenting them as complex individuals shaped by their circumstances but ultimately responsible for their choices. This psychological realism, combined with the novel's gothic atmosphere and passionate intensity, creates an unforgettable reading experience that lingers long after the final page. For modern readers, Wuthering Heights offers valuable lessons about the importance of authenticity, the dangers of revenge, and the healing power of love and forgiveness. Its exploration of class identity and social expectations remains relevant in our contemporary world, while outpast this, its ultimate message of hope and renewal provides comfort in times of darkness. This remarkable novel stands as proof that great literature can emerge from the most unlikely circumstances, and that the human spirit's capacity for both destruction and redemption is limitless.